Hey guys, welcome back to Associate Tribe for part 2 of the T14 versus Regional Law School conversation with my good friend Devin Alavian. This section is just talking about getting jobs after law school graduation. So Devin's going to talk about his experience looking for and getting a job after graduating from Columbia Law School, and I'm going to talk about looking for and getting a job after graduating from SMU in Dallas from a regional law school perspective. I hope you guys enjoy. So the next thing I wanted to talk about are career opportunities. So talking about the types of firms and the types of markets that will come to OCI, on-campus interviewing, that will do callbacks, even non-law firm opportunities. And I wanted to kind of hear from you what that experience is like at Columbia. Are you getting, employers coming from all over the country? Are you getting international employers? What was that process sort of like?
So I think the easiest job to get out of law school is going to be at a law firm, whether it's a big law firm or a small law firm, simply because they are employers that are looking to hire law school graduates. And most employers aren't going to do that because they know that once you graduate from law school, you don't really know that much and you need a lot of training. So law firms have the capacity to train you because you're going to be working with other junior associates and mid-level associates and senior associates, and they will kind of train you up in a way that will make you a good attorney for the rest of your career. So looking just at law firms, because those are the most, you will have the most opportunities with law firms. Coming out of law school, you'll always have the most opportunities from law firms within whatever city you're attending. So if you going to SMU, I'm sure Dallas law firms, basically every Dallas law firm probably was at OCI looking to hire at least one or two SMU grads. The same is true for Columbia. So if you were someone, let's say from Atlanta, wanted to go back to Atlanta, which is a smaller legal market, you maybe had one or two firms coming from Atlanta, but most likely you were going to be looking for a firm that had an Atlanta office that would have allowed you to submit an application, or you would just directly apply through the firm's site. Mm-hmm. So you have to be a little bit more proactive and looking for opportunities in whatever city you are most excited to actually work in. So if you want to work at that firm in Columbus, Ohio, you just have to be a little more aggressive. So as a result, maybe the Ohio State law school grad has an advantage in the Columbus market over someone who goes to Columbia or Harvard, because they have that connection to all of those local Ohio State graduates who are working at Columbus law firms. So depending on whether you've worked after college and maybe have some roots laid down, or maybe have a very clear desire to work in a particular city, really think about going to law school there, because that will give you a huge network of that law school's graduates who most likely work in the area that you can lean on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that's just like you said, that's going to be one advantage to going to a regional school. If you already know you want to work in that market, going to that school is going to be great because you can have work experience there, you can meet people there. A lot of the attorneys who work at these firms are going to have graduated from there, especially if you're the only law school in that city. And so Dallas, for example, when I went to law school, SMU was the only law school in Dallas, and Dallas has a huge legal market. And so all of these people from these different firms that are coming to interview at OCI, most of them have graduated from SMU, or a huge chunk of their attorneys graduated from SMU, or maybe some of the other schools around Texas, but not far. And so you're already going to have something in common. There are going to be, sort of preconditioned to want to hire you or give you the benefit of the doubt. And you're also, another big thing too, is you're not going to have to justify wanting to work there and live there. So I think it's harder to go outside of the market because even though, we're a super transient society and people move all the time, and you shouldn't have to have a reason to just want to live somewhere. They will still ask you for one. So if you don't have a significant other, for example, that got a job in that market that you want to move to, or you don't have family that lives there, or a really, really good reason to want to live there, they're going to be suspicious of you. And I think that comes from not thinking you're going to stick around. Like, I think they think you're going to, if you're coming from Dallas going to New York, they think, you want to live in New York, but you're going to leave soon, or you're going to go back home, or there's just not a lot of faith, I guess, in your commitment to the city, or to the firm in that area. So keep that in mind. You want to try to make as many connections to the market in the area where you want to work as possible, and going to law school is a huge one.
Yeah, and Angela, when we clerked together in Dallas, and coming from Columbia as a Columbia grad, I didn't really know very many, maybe a few Columbia grads who were in Dallas. Whereas SMU, it was like every other partner at the law firm was from SMU. So
Right.
to the extent that you want to work in a market like Dallas, which is still a very big legal market, maybe not as big as New York's, but it's probably one of the top 5 legal markets in the country. Really think about where are law school grads coming from who are working in that market, and how am I going to be able to make sure they know that this is truly where I want to work, this is where I want to have a career, because they don't want someone starting at their law firm and then immediately trying to lateral to, let's say, a New York or an LA firm, or just trying to get to a New York or LA office. They want someone who wants to create a career in that city.
One other thing I'll say on this topic is a lot of the advice that was given to us, again, having gone to SMU in Dallas, if you want to go to another market, say New York, for example, an easier way to go about it is to do really well at SMU, be accepted or get a job into a New York firm that has a Dallas office, prove yourself, work hard, build a name for yourself, and then transfer into a New York office, or a San Francisco office, or Chicago, or wherever it is that you have your dream job set. And so that is definitely doable. I personally did it. Some friends of mine have also done it. And it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's not, because there are a lot of people that want to transfer, and a lot of the ways that these law firms are set up are by these individual offices sort of operate independently of one another, but it is possible. And so, for example, if there's a New York firm that has a Dallas office that you would not be competitive to get into coming from a regional law school to be hired directly into their New York office, you could be competitive being hired into their Dallas office and later transferring. So that's always an option as well. And the last thing I wanted to talk about are lateral opportunities after you get your first job out of law school. A lot of people will go to law firms, like Devin said. It's sort of a natural first step. And then the opportunities after you've been in law for a few years and you're looking to do something else. And so I was just curious what your experience with that was. And then I can talk a little bit about it from a regional perspective.
So I never lateraled to a different law firm. I worked at a law firm. I switched offices within that same law firm. And then I went in-house to a bank. So I generally think that once you've worked for 2 or 3 years, where you went to school, what your grades were, just begin to matter less and less. Because for better or worse, you begin to develop a reputation fairly quickly in whatever job that you get. So if you're working at a firm, partners will kind of know whether you're good to work with. Partners talk a lot, again, for better or worse. So you'll very quickly be known as someone who's a good worker, someone who's very bright and able to get things done in a very clear and thoughtful way. So if and when you decide to lateral either to a different firm, or you decide that working at a firm might not be your thing and you want to go elsewhere, I wouldn't be too worried about, where you went to law school, what your grades were. What's going to be much more important by that point is really, having developed a good reputation, making sure people know that you would be an asset to wherever you were looking to go, and B, networking, which is something I hate doing and I'm really bad at, but it really is the best way to make connections and make sure that people know that you're looking for a particular job. Let me know if you're aware of anything. That's really the way the world works, and it's unfortunate for me because I hate that. But it's true that's really going to be the best way to get your second job out of law school.
I 100% completely agree with that. And they say 80% of people get jobs from people they already know. And I think so. One of the benefits of going to a regional law school, working in sort of a regional market, may be that you get better opportunities to interact with clients earlier on, so that if going in-house is something you want to do, or if making a lateral move is something you want to do, that you have that relationship that you're building with a client. Because what tends to happen, larger firms and larger markets, is you are doing sort of more grunt work for longer until you finally get on the phone calls with clients or be able to actually interact with clients face to face. And so I would say, from a regional law school, in a regional market, trying to jump from a law firm in a regional market to an in-house position in a big market is still going to be really difficult, because you don't have any connections there. You didn't work there yet, but you may have an advantage going in-house sooner or faster, or you may have more options potentially if you stay and you're looking just within that market, because again, you might get that client contact a little bit earlier on. Well, thank you so much for being here and for talking to us about your experience. I know that we both had very different experiences, but we were lucky enough to cross paths in our judicial clerkships in Dallas, and that's how we met, and that's where we became friends. And so, life is funny that way, and you can get to where you want to go regardless of where you start. So keep that in mind always.
Yeah, people always assume that what they did is normal, but there are so many different ways to achieve what you want to achieve, especially in the legal world where there are a trillion law schools. People start their careers doing something, they finish doing something else. So don't let anyone tell you there's only one way to do something. That drives me insane.
And on that note, we are going to leave you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in and for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Click the subscribe button and tap the notification bell to get notified every time we release a new video every Tuesday. And I hope this was helpful for you guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.